Okay, welcome back to Vampires. We're not at the end of the first night. We will end the night. Night 2. December 2024. 6 nights till New Year. Again and again, it's the same sensation. A sudden plunge into frigid waters, snapping me back to reality. Not exactly a graceful awakening, more of a shit, here we go again kind of moment. In the midst of this routine, there's always that distinctive first touch. The thing that jolts me back into consciousness. This time, it's the gentle rustling of papers, turning a subtle nudging back into the awakening world. I crack open an eye, look around. In this derelict armchair, Patrick sits bent over the heavy tome, pencil in hand, etching thoughts onto the yellowed pages. His gaze never leaves the text, but he must have sensed me awaken. Good evening. I hope you slept well. Let's be friendly. I did, actually. Not worse than in any other place, at least. You kind of take what you can get when you live on the road. I'm well aware. Oh. Am I in the presence of another esteemed vagabond? More of a traveler by necessity. Still, baffling as it is, it seems we have something in common. So, did I snoop through anything noteworthy? He jots down one last note and carefully closes the book before finally glancing up at me, face unyielding and cold as ice. That would depend on your definition of noteworthy, but I have been pondering our next steps. Oh, do tell. I've been working for the Anarchs for the past 2 years and forged friendly relationships with some of them, Torque included, although in this particular case I would rather avoid his presence. Trouble in paradise. Trouble in the Bronx. Torque is more than occupied with the current going on within his turf. He may have neither time nor patience for the visit. He glances at the window, clearly wrestling with his thoughts. Pity. So what do you propose then? The allegiance against your sire. See, I happen to know someone who used to be deeply entrenched in the darker corners of the Red Market and Anarch, working not too far from here. If Castle truly wields as much influence as the court suggests, my contact could offer substantial aid. Substantial, you say? Wow, can't argue with that. Except it's a no-go, amigo. His face crumbles up in surprise, and he repeats the words as if trying to taste them for poison. A no-go, amigo. Look, I get it. You have friends and contacts aplenty, but so do I. Also, I know Reynard Cassell like the back of my hand. We've been dealing all around the city on and off for almost 2 years. There's gotta be somebody here who knows where he bailed. Patrick furrows his brow, waiting for me to elaborate further. This is a real quandary. 2 little angels whisper steadily into my ears, one having fallen spectacularly onto the pits of hell, while the other has only sauntered vaguely downwards, spouting completely contrary notions. In the end, I ignore both, as I often do, and choose a third option, the best option, one where I don't have to reveal much at all. There's this guy who hangs out around Harlem, Ali Senseric. Apparently, he's one of a few kindred that didn't burn with hatred for Reynard, so it must mean they were getting along. He tilts his head slightly at the name of my, well, let's just call it my contact. Ali Sansaric, the serpent. Why? You have something against them? Do you know what the ministry... Never mind that. Do you have the slightest inkling about what Sanskrit's capable of? Oh, I'm not fond of that look. The one filled with pity. But somehow it can't seem to bring out a credible light to spite him. Go on, enlighten me. To put it bluntly, only in the most desperate situations would anyone with an ounce of sanity consider seeking out Ali Sansaric. A perfect lead, given my circumstances. I can go find him now, have a little chat, and be back in no time. We could go find him, but it's not far from the best course of action at the moment, since Sarek is known to be extremely dangerous and territorial. We should not take him lightly. I propose we go to the Anarchs first. At least there we will not be in danger of losing our heads. You're being so dramatic. We're gonna be fine. What's the worst that could happen? I believe us literally losing our heads is most definitely in the realm of possibility. We could split up the party, you know. Again, we most certainly could not. See, I think... Sweet lord, this guy. Alright. Time to kick things up a notch. I fish a weighted coin out of my belt bag. Whoops, sorry. I didn't reach my limit here. How about we flip a coin? Heads, we go to Sansaric. Tail, we go to Harlem. You mean the Bronx. I hate it when people actually listen to what I say. Fine. Call it already. I see him hesitate. Eyes going blank for a moment, his hand almost inadvertently crawls towards his ring, spinning it around a couple of times, squinting at it. I finally manage to make out that it's a dice ring. One of those really dorky ones that D&D nerds wear when they gonna look their silliest. Finally, Patrick looks at me, gaze as sharp as ever. Alright, but you call it. Suit yourself, buddy. It's your funeral. So, what are you gonna do? Heads or tails? I want to keep my head, so let's toss for heads. Heads! I lower my head to hide a little smile. The weighted coin glimmers in the warmth light of the floor lamp as it soars through the air, spinning quicker than the wheels of fate. It lands safely on my outstretched hand, and I flip it onto my palm, showing it confidently Patrick without even a glance. He looks at it and smiles up at me, like the cat that got the cream. Tails! Ah, fancy that. Seems we're going to the Bronx after all. What? Impossible, truly impossible. This has never happened before. Treacherous coin! Have I not been good to you? Have I not kept you safe in my pocket all these years? Is that how you repay me? I mean, what the actual fuck, who is he? Did David Blaine finally freeze to death and turn into this langsty trickster? How did he... Best 2 out of 3? Come on, we can take my car. Oh, shit. That's one battle lost. Yeah, your car. Wait, you mean that black rattletrap out front? It's a perfectly serviceable vehicle, whose minuscule size allows for... You know what? How about we just go, and you can enjoy your minuscule vehicle in silence? A is for anarchy. Stupid coin. Gotta take the L, I guess. Not my ideal move, but tagging along with the Caitiff might get me some answers. Plus, having seen Torque's reaction at Elysium, those anarchs might have a soft spot for Patrick and share more than they would if I asked them myself. Patrick's car is indeed a perfectly serviceable vehicle, and that's legally all I'm allowed to say. I'm having a blast, shuffling through the ancient cassette tapes he's collected, judging his taste in music out loud. Another Bohemian Rhapsody? Seriously? Huh? I thought I had only one of them. Terrific! He said that with the straightest of faces, and I can't help but burst out in laughter. God forbid you could with the time. But how about a legit car radio? You know, to update your playlist? Says the one sporting a Walkman on her belt. Touche, I guess. Still, I do have a soft spot for Queen. Never gets old. Just saying, you missed out on the whole lot of if you ignore stuff from the 21st century. The music scene been booming. Ever heard of K-pop? You're giving off some serious saying energy, my guy. Saying energy, my guy. He eyes me with sudden interest. Do you think any of them have released cassette tapes? Aside from our contrastian views on modernity, our little journey proceeds smoothly. Too smoothly, in fact. A violent itch grows within me to tease, scratch, prod. I can't help but give him. So, why the Anarchs? So, the Anarchs, am I right? What about them? Exactly. You've got some stories there, I bet. Mind sharing with the rest of the car? There's really not much to talk about. Come on, it's either that or me belting out every single line of Bohemian Rhapsody. Instrumental bits included. A muscle in his cheek twitches, but he manages to suppress the blooming smile. The horror. I suppose you leave me no choice. I landed in New York about 2 years ago. Shortly after, I managed to save a handful of kindred, mostly of the anarch variety, although I do believe there was some Camarilla in the mix. It earned me what I would call tentative trust from Torque, but not much else, as you might have assessed back at Elysium. Wow, how noble. So, how did you go from kindred hero to Camarilla's goofer? There's a pause, as if he's generally considering the tranquility of his own life. I have a knack for playing peacemaker, apparently. While Torque considers it an asset, the Camarilla thinks it's a chink in his armor. Compromise isn't really their vocabulary, you know. Oh, I definitely do know. But if you saved some Camarilla kindred as well, why not start with them and curry some favor? They're the fat cats of New York, right? I'm a caitiff, Kali. My kind is not exactly welcome around the Ivory Tower. A rare feeling of guilt washes over me, even though there's no bitterness in his voice. After the brief, uncomfortable silence, I abruptly change the subject and lead the conversation onto a slightly different track. Any other major players in the city? So we have the Camarilla and the Anarchs. That's pretty much standard fare. Anybody else to keep an eye out for? No. His response is so swift it borders on phony, but his face remains as impassive as always. Right, how about cool stories about the Anarchs? You seem to go well with them the most. He hesitates briefly, his hands, while placed firmly on the steering wheel, meet in the middle as his fingers start nervously fidgeting with the dice ring. Deep down, the logical part of me knows I should back off, but the readily available part, the one right beneath my cold dead skin, lurches at this opportunity to sneak straight into the vault of secrets. Come on, I'm dying of boredom here. You must have some wild tales to tell, something not found in your pile of books. Fidgeting with his ring stops. His hands return to the perfectly sensible 9-3 on the wheel. No wild tales, really. I mostly just talk to people. Riveting. What kind of people? Then bloods for the most part. I was particularly interested in one called Sana, but mentioning her tends to shut conversation down. Probably because she's met her final death 4 years back. At the hand of the sheriff, that is. Kadir. Wow, she must have really stirred the pot. Well, she did go on a mortal killing spree. But I might not want to judge whether or not the punishment fit the crime. He does seem interested in her, so maybe let's say it didn't fit the crime. Executed by the sheriff, huh? That's quite the exit. Fits the Camarilla, though. But was it justified? What punishment hurt? What pushed her to do it? He hesitates. Why so secretive about a thin blood going rogue? She claimed she was acting under orders from Kane, urging her to kill. My eyebrow shoots up, waiting for him to continue. He allegedly told Sana the end of the world is nigh and someone that devolved into a killing spree. And she never questioned why the creator of our whole species would specifically choose her. Just straight up went on a rampage. For some reason, this perfectly innocent remark really got on his nerves. Look, I'm just here telling you what I've heard. I never met Sana myself. I just found her condition fascinating. Hey, no need to get worked up. I glanced at your research notes. I know you're really into the inner voices stuff. I'm not judging. It's just, we can end this conversation anytime you want, really. It's just, you have some really niche hobbies, you know. May I interest you in, I don't know, crocheting or something? It's a lot less intense than chasing crazies. The kindred might not need air. But Patrick sighs so profoundly, it probably echoes in the very afterlife or wherever else Sana went after meeting her final death. I'm not sure what I expected from an Anarch outpost in one of the most densely populated cities in the Americas. Maybe a sewer hideaway sitting right next to the local rats. Maybe a few Prohibition-era cellars linked by a web of secret corridors. Maybe even a chaotic squat in a dilapidated brownstone. But a grimly auto repair shop with a bold red sign proudly declaring it's Mato's place, that definitely wasn't on my list. Is it about your car? Now I know I'm not supposed to talk about your perfectly serviceable car anymore, but is this really the right time for your yearly inspection? Ouch. The silent treatment. Patrick parks carefully, checking the side mirrors to see if he's aligned perfectly with the curb. Finally, with a satisfied nod, he turns the engine off. Let's go. And he gets out of the car just like that. I follow, of course, not because he told me to, but, well, hanging solely in a car at night gets really boring, really fast. Even with Queens. Dido laying in the background. Mato, are you there? I fully expected company, but I still flinch when a huge, burly kindred steps out from the shadows, quieter than a mouse. His grime-covered arms are all set to give Patrick a bear hug. But he stops himself at the very last moment, either from playing common sense or because I'm there. Paddy! Looking good, my man. What can I do you for? Need me to take a look at that old clunker of yours? Paddy? Clunker? Oh, this is gonna be good. I grin at Paddy, expecting only to be met with his gaze full of discontent. My clunker is in top shape. Thank you, Mato. Besides, I can see you are rather busy tonight. Still, I hoped you would have a moment for a few questions, though. It won't take long. Mato erupts into laughter, patting Paddy on the shoulder with a hand as big as a diner plate. any mortal would have pulverized by the friendly little Paddy like that. This gentle giant is truly something else. Anything for you, my man. And speaking of, who is this you've brought? Mato's gaze cuts right through me. His hawkish eyes surprisingly cool and sharp despite his rugged exterior. A split second passes before I realize he's sizing me up, and that I'm coming up short. Mato probably wouldn't spare me a second glance if it weren't for Patrick. Mato, meet Kali. She's got in a bit of a situation with the Ivory Tower. You see, well, to put it short, her execution is on hold, provided she delivers the council her sire's head on a silver platter. Mato lets out a long whistle, his eyes gaining a touch of warmth and, dare I say, grudging respect. Damn. What's your sire accused of? That's kind of what we're trying to piece together. Ever come across a lick who goes by Reynard Cassell? Reynard, huh? Can't say it rings a bell. What's his deal? Blood trade, among other things. Patrick says it quietly, sharply, with no hesitation, and I swear I see a bit of vitae drain from Mato's face. He almost drops a dirty rag he's been fiddling with ever since we got here. A tense silence fills the air, stretching like a endless rubber band. Thankfully, just as I'm a second away from blurting out some nonsense to break it up, Mato speaks up. I left that shit behind, man. You know that. I know. Believe me. We're not here to dredge up the past. We just need a direction. Nothing more. Nothing less. Surely there's someone who's still in the loop. Someone you might have heard. Some rumors. Mato falls silent, avoiding Patrick's eyes. Internally, I'm giving Patrick a standing ovation. I mean, I'm well aware I've misjudged my caretaker, but damn, if he's not a wire puller, maybe he could even teach me a thing or two. I get it. It's a difficult situation for you, but I'm really hoping you could help me out here. You know, I would not hesitate to reciprocate, as I have in the past. Yeah, I know. He seems more resigned than irritated, but still refuses to speak, eyes downcast, body language borderline deer in the headlights. There must be some juicy history there between these two, and I make sure to remember that info for later. Patrick shoots me a quick look, but before he can double down on the guilt tripping, I flash my most charming grin and step forward. You see, I've only known Paddy here for what's a single night. Turns out that's more than enough to figure out he's pretty good at killing the vibe when he puts his mind to it. That earns me an outraged glare from the caitiff, which I cheerfully ignore, and an unexpected chuckle from Mato. I count my blessings and push on. Look, I don't know the first thing about you, the whole blood trade drama or whatever. That's none of my business. I'm not about to dig in your dirt. Survival's the game that we're all playing, right? Throwing Reynard's quote out there is kind of cheap, but it tends to work like a charm. So I'll back off. Plus, I'm in a spot where I really can't afford to have anyone else on this town be pissed off at me. Yeah, gotcha. It's just that. No need to spell out for me. Gnarly pasts are sort of my thing, you know. Let's just drop the whole shebang, alright? He nods hesitantly, and I'm not sure if he caught on to my attempt to win him over. I really hope he didn't, cause I've already scanned his workshop and caught a bait or two I can feed him to keep him on the hook. Let's overappreciate some of his stuff. Let's see him see a fellow enthusiast in me, yeah. Hey, you run a garage, yeah? Got any spare hydraulic jacks lying around? My leveling system completely bailed on me a few nights back. Leveling system? That's a new one. Didn't figure you for an RV type. What's your ride? I mean, it's kind of started its life as a Class C mini Winnie, But after years of us messing with it and adding stuff, it's basically a custom build now. Oh, it's a six-wheeler. He lets out a whistle. So clear, it's almost musical. Modified chassis, huh? Got me intrigued. I'd love to get a look at that beast. Maybe it's just a simple fix for the jacks, like some wiring gone bad, no power getting through. Nope, checked that already. When those jacks decided it's game over, there's no coming back. It's not a big deal, really. It's just, I hate having anything break on me when I'm out and about, you know? Tell me about it. I used to spend a lot of time on the road myself. Yeah? What's your haunt? Deload, Minnesota. Been ages since I've went back, though. Why is that? Well, you know, stuff, business, responsibilities, and then just sort of gave up on it. Well, if you ever get to hit a sudden wave of nostalgia, I could swing by and pick you up. After I'm all done with this Camarilla bullshit, of course. It might be Hope playing tricks on me, but he seems sort of easy now. Maybe even warmed up to me by a degree or two. You're Class C. That's your haven, right? Right on. A fully decked, sunproof, steel curtains and all, reliable and minty fresh mobile heaven. Damn. I really need to see that masterpiece sometime. Give it a few nights to sort my stuff out and I'll show you all its quirks. He cracks an actual smile, looking both wistful and excited. You know what? I might take you up on that offer. Deal. Just keep these fingers crossed for me, alright? I've got to navigate my way out of that Camarilla mess first, remember? I gleefully sift through Moto's treasures, pretending I don't see him watching me like a hawk, clearly fighting a vicious internal battle, but in the end neither of us breaks our silent standoff. It's time to head out. Still need to find someone who can actually give us some answers. Sorry to bother you, Mato. And thank you for your time. Oh, that's cold, even by Patrick's standards. But it sets me up perfectly. I smile brightly at Mato and wave a little. See you around, I hope. And if not, Paddy here will give you my regards. We turn around to leave and I quietly count the steps, but before I reach 3, Mato curses under his breath and speaks up. Hold up. Patrick shoots me a meaningful look, but it's gone by the time we both turn back to the friendly giant. Mato snarling at his bottom lip and twisting the rags between his fingers. Yes? I really am out of that business, Paddy. I know, Mato. Still, some whispers find their way to my ears. Nobody likes gossip more than a bust-up kindred. Ain't that the truth? Usually comes in really handy too. Yeah. So there's the Sinblood. Alchemist. Skylar is her name, I think. Hangs around in Sunnies a lot. Sunnies? Empire of the Sun. It's a local analog dive. Yeah, exactly. Sunnies. If anybody knows anything about the blood trade, it's her. She's the only albino around too, so you won't mistake her for none. Thank you, Mato. That is all we need. I owe you big time. You know, you might have saved my skin there. Don't mention it. Still, we should get going. Take care. Not so fast, runt. What's with the kindred in the city and their love for lurking? Or is it me who's losing edge? Miss Sorrento, what a pleasure. The air crackles with their mutual glares. Patrick stoic, hers livid. Mato waves at her awkwardly, to which she responds with a curt nod. Me? I might as well be invisible to her. Torque needs you. Now. Why? I came here to tell you, not to debate you, Kadef. Figure it out on your own. Patrick tries to hide his frustration, but his jaw is set and his shoulders tight. Fine. Let's get moving, Carly. I don't think you heard me right. Torque summoned you. Your Ravnos pup is not invited. She turns on her heels and walks off in the night. The cluttered car shop suddenly feels a touch more welcoming, as if starlight broke through after a storm. Mato gives Patrick another one of those awkward shoulder pats, but it does have a reflecting effect on him, or at least it stops him from erratically spinning in the ring. So, I kind of want to keep the report with she seems delightful. Who's the bitch? I mean, I guess they're not on friendly terms, but not too bad, I guess. Let's say who's the bitch. I mean, don't get me wrong. The company I usually keep is far from nice, but damn if she's not the bitchiest of them all. Yeah, kinda. Name's Mia. Torque's enforcer. Sort of big fish around here. Bigger than Torque sometimes. Easy, Paddy. You wouldn't want her catching wind of that. Patrick clears his throat in a uselessly mortal manner. Right. I believe this is our cue to go. Thanks again, Mato. Don't mention it. And hey, you're welcome back anytime. Both of you. You got it. Later. So, I think we are going to call it here and continue next time at this moment. Thanks for sticking here and see you then.